right, mercifully, that's over. Let's get down to business. Lions, I really don't care about Michigan or Michigan State today. You want that? Tune in tomorrow. I'm just being upfront with you. I have no idea why that was even in the open. We're doing Lions today because I said to you Friday this was a crossroads game for this team. What took place Sunday now, man, do we have something to talk about. A, you playing like absolute crap, and B, Aaron Rodgers dying on the field. We'll get to the divisional stuff momentarily, but I am torn on something, and that's where I want to start the show. And part of me just wants to light into Matthew Stafford because I thought the way he played was absolutely awful. It was embarrassing. It was one of the worst performances of his career. That's on me. Sorry, didn't realize I had the little beepy tone on there. Listen, bottom line is this. That was one of the worst games I've ever seen Matthew Stafford play. And I've defended Matthew Stafford. I had no problem with them giving him his money. Thought he started the year as one of the better QBs in football. We did a show talking about just where he was amongst NFL QBs. All right, well, last 3 weeks, awful. Now, mind you, he's been sacked more than any other QB in football. Probably been hit more than any other QB in football. And those things in quarterback performance, they go hand in hand. But there is no excuse for yesterday. But remember, I'm torn on something here now. Because as bad as Stafford was, he shouldn't have been in that game after the 6-minute mark of the third quarter. Now, if you guys want to call up and rip Stafford, you want to rip him for the 5 turnovers, you want to rip him for the way he played, I'm fine with that. But let's come to an understanding on something here on a Monday. When a football game is 45-10 with 6 minutes to go in the third quarter, and you know for a fact that Aaron Rodgers is now out with a broken collarbone. You know this. You have to look at things, and self-preservation has to be a part of it. Dalvin Cook is done in Minnesota. Aaron Rodgers is done in Green Bay. Chicago's not in a position to contend. Our quarterback, who we pay an ungodly amount of money, is being hit, harassed, sacked, beaten up. You already saw him earlier in the game reaching for some form of chest or rib injury. Went into the game with a gimpy ankle. He couldn't even chase after a guy when he threw a pick six. Not because he didn't want to, because he can't. You know all of those things. And it's 45-10, and you leave your quarterback in the game? You leave him in the game without your only all-pro player up front in TJ Lang? You leave him with a gimpy Rick Wagner? You leave him with not even the corpse of Greg Robinson, but the backup to Greg Robinson? You leave him in that game? I'm not saying Jim Caldwell should be fired. I'll tell you, it's a fireable offense. Because if Matthew Stafford got hurt yesterday, oh, man, people would be howling that Caldwell should be fired. I don't care what extension you give a guy. Your job as a head coach of a football team, put your guys in the best position to succeed, both short-term and long-term. That football game was over at 45-10. You can tell me how they got they were down 7 with the ball on their own. You do whatever you want. I'm making a point to you that Matthew Stafford never should have been in that game. I'm surprised he finished the game. So I'm torn between wanting to bury Stafford's performance yesterday and then bury the fact that he was allowed not only to play that way, but to be in a game where they were down 35 points, and he's banged up, and he's turning the ball over. So I made a decision. I'm going to do both. To start the game, the first third down of the game, it's Stafford's fault that he got sacked in the end zone and the ball came out for a touchdown. That's his fault. He looked like a rookie. He held on to that football way too long. You have the internal clock. You know the down and distance. You know where you are on the field. You know you cannot hold the football in the end zone. I'm sorry. That's him. That's his fault. The strip sack, that's his fault. Why is that ball away from your body? Why are you trying to throw it as a defender goes by you? What were you going to do? Throw it through his chest? His fault. And even though he shouldn't have been in the game, he was in the game. The 2 pick sixes were ridiculous. New Orleans openly knew Stafford's timing. They knew you were throwing the ball very, very quickly. That's how you end up knocking down 12 passes. That and your quarterback's not using his passing lanes. He's just not. One of Stafford's worst professional days ever, in my opinion. And the O-line didn't do him any favors. And Golden Tate getting hurt didn't help. I hear all that, guys. But you can't play the way Stafford played. And you know what? Shame on that coaching staff and shame on Bob Quinn for allowing him to be in that game at 45-10. Knowing Aaron Rodgers is done, likely for the year. At that point, what happened on that field at 45-10 did not matter yesterday. I don't want to hear about how the quarterback will fight until there's 3 zeros on the clock or any other quotes that you've watched from Friday Night Lights. I don't want to hear it. It means nothing. Jim Caldwell needed to pull him from that game. And if Caldwell doesn't want to do it or doesn't have the autonomy to do it, I really don't care. Neither of those is acceptable. That's a bad job by Caldwell. And if Caldwell somehow doesn't have the power to do it, it's a bad job by the organization and the people that do. You cannot expose your quarterback down 45-10 with a ridiculous mash unit offensive line without your best skill player. The odds of you coming back at that point are less than 1%. That would have been the biggest comeback in NFL history. I don't care that you kind of, sort of, almost, maybe had a chance to drive 99 yards to tie it. I don't care. He never should have been in that game. Now, here's what it leads me to. Is this thing on? The point is, this is what it leads me to. You still win this division. Minnesota, you already beat them at their place, and they don't have their best player. I mean, right here and right now, if you want to tell me Steph Diggs is better than Dalvin Cook, that's fine. You can have that argument amongst yourselves. I'm not interested in having it. Dalvin Cook was a game changer. Dalvin Cook was a big-time running back. You saw it early. He's done. Green Bay is done without Aaron Rodgers. 2013 with Flynn, I know, you're scared. I'm not scared of Brett Hundley. Brett Hundley wasn't good at UCLA. I'm sure as hell not scared of him now. If you don't win this division this year, everybody should be fired at this point. I mean, I know that won't happen. I'm just telling you how I feel. I mean, how at the end of this season do you not win this division? Bears aren't ready to contend. Minnesota lost their best offensive player. And Green Bay just lost the best player in the league. You might be able to win this division with 9 wins. 9. You've already beaten Minnesota at their place. I can't make any excuses. So you got a couple things you can talk about. You want to rip Stafford? Rip him. He was awful yesterday. There's nothing I can say. I've defended him. I've attempted to rationalize how he's played, talk about the O-line, talk about I can't do that yesterday. I don't care how bad things are around you. A 9-year vet with the talent this kid has, making the money that he has, you cannot play that way. You can't turn it over 5 times. You can't throw 2 pick sixes. You can't fumble in the end zone. You can't only complete 25 of 52 throws. You can't do any of that. But make no mistake, the reason it looked as bad as it did was because I think this organization, including this coaching staff, sold him out and allowed him to continue to make himself look bad and risk injury. Knowing that you just got the most, I mean, if there was a gift you could ever get, it would be Aaron Rodgers being hurt but not career-threatening, because that would be mean. It's malfeasance, honestly. 248-539-9797. We awake, Detroit? Let's talk some damn football, people. You don't want to talk football? We're going to have Sully take his shirt off and produce this show. That'll be a treat for everybody.
Yeah, someone just asked that question. You might want to just run that tape back so I don't have to do it again.
248-539-9797. Just in time to get your car ready for cold weather.